So let's talk about the pros and cons of using a property manager. The biggest pro of using a property manager is you're not on call 24/7. When you're hosting a guest and they message you, there's a lot of pressure to respond quickly. The property manager will relieve that from you. They know how to deal with all situations. They've dealt with good guests, bad guests, the police, parties, you name it. They know how to deal with it when it happens. They also know the market and the revenue potential of each property, so you don't have to spend the time wondering how much I charge at night, how much I charge in the summer, weekends. All that's very important when you're listing your property. They're also part of an established advertising network. So, as a property manager, you probably have several properties under your belt and you market them all at once. So, you get a lot more exposure from a property manager than you might by just listing on Airbnb and doing it by yourself. On the flip side, on the cons, if something bad happens, you're still probably hearing about it. If you have a bad guest or if something breaks, you have to pay for it, you still have to deal with that one way or another. So, it doesn't always save you to be completely hands off. The other thing about lake houses is no one knows your lake houses like you do. There's a lot of bumps and bruises in a lot of these lake houses. There may be tricks to get things working, and if a guest messages the property manager might not know and have to reach out to you anyways. It's also difficult for the property manager to give a customized guest experience when they have such a wide variety of houses that the guests are staying in. When you host yourself, you're able to give that guest a perfectly customized experience to how you would like to stay in your own lake house. And finally, the reason you probably hear property managers are very costly. They start at 20% of your overall revenue. How much is that? Well, let's take a look. So how do you figure out how much your property manager will charge you? Well, first you need to understand the revenue potential of your property. And how do you do that? Well, there's a number of different ways. You can simply go to Airbnb and see what properties nearby are charging, but sometimes that data is tough to read. I use a site called AirDNA, and I have the Lake of the Ozarks as an example, filtered down to 3 and 4 bedrooms. Some of the higher bedroom counts give very high revenue, and most people are buying in 3 to 4 bedroom. You'll also see that there are 1,600 of the 3 to 4 bedrooms, so there are a lot of competitions out there. At the top, you have our outliers. They are doing exceptionally well. So we're going to scroll down a little bit further, and you see that properties start to kind of tap out around the 100K. And these are all the ones that are doing very well. So if you're going to come into this market and give it your all, you should probably plan on a 3 or 4 bedroom tapping out around the 100K. You can see this continues to go down quickly, and now we're into the 80s, and soon we'll be into the 70s. So again, if you want to compete with the big boys, you need to bring your A game. So now you're on Zillow, you happen to see a property you like, and this just happens to be a house that I used to own as a rental. And I ended up selling it last year. It's now on the market again. So I understand this property very well. So this is a potential good bedroom. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, not a horribly bad price for a 4-bedroom lakefront property. So let's dig into the numbers and see how much a property manager will cost you. Again, I've owned this property before, so I understand it pretty well. I've already plugged in the information we need here. These are comps I found nearby, one making just over 100K a year, one making around 80K a year. Let's say that we're going to compete with this one. We're a new property, we don't have reviews, so we want to be reasonable about our target revenue. So let's get into the calculations. Let's just say we're paying list price $575. We put 20% down. I have all this other information in here. I have $350 a night, 65% occupancy, putting us right at 83K, competing with the lower end comp that I found earlier. I have my cleaning information up here. I have all the information about the utility and insurance. And I have a 7% interest rate assigned for my financing. And right now, without a property manager, we're taking in about $1,000 a month. And if you only own one lake house and you just want to offset costs, this is a pretty good deal. Now, let's see when we add a property manager fee in here. So this is a little field I have for that. Remember, I said that the property manager start at 20%, so we'll move that down here. And we immediately go from a profitable property making $1,000 a month to one that is losing about $300 a month. So it's significant, and you may be better off if you can learn how to do it to self-host. That might be the difference between you being able to afford your lake house and offset costs to a point where you can afford, or one that you can't afford. So you've made it this far into the video. My guess is you really want that lake house. So why don't you reach out to me? Let's see if I can help you out. Being a host is an awesome experience. It's great to give a vacation experience to families who are coming to your lake house to enjoy it for themselves. It's very rewarding, and I highly recommend it. It's really not as bad as it seems, as long as you get that upfront work done properly. And that's what excellent. Getting people started off on the right foot so they can self-manage their own properties. Joe Robertson, House to Play. Let me see if I can help you get your own house to play.